Hey, hello and welcome back students. Welcome to the MEG-15 Indian Literature in English. So in this video I'm going to cover about Train to Pakistan by Khushwant Singh. So let's just start with the introduction. When neighbors suddenly become enemies. Imagine this. You live in a small village. Every morning Hindu greets Muslims, Sikhs helps Muslims, children play together, everyone celebrate festivals together. No one think about religion. Every simple thinks we are neighbors. Now imagine one day politicians sitting hundreds of kilometers away draw a line on a map. That line is called partition. Suddenly people are told you are no longer one nation. You now belong to different countries. But the villagers ask, how can a line on paper separate people who have lived together for generations? This is the heartbreaking question that lies in the center of Train to Pakistan, written by Khushwant Singh. This novel is not simply about partition. It is about friendship, humanity, love, violence, sacrifice, and the difficult choices ordinary people face during extraordinary times. So, now let's talk on before we begin the story. What was partition? To understand this novel, we first need to understand the historical background. In 1947, India becomes independent from British rule. This was a moment of great joy. People believed now India is finally free. But freedom came with a terrible price. British India was divided into India and Pakistan. This event is called the Partition of India. Millions of people suddenly found themselves living in the wrong country. Families had no left their homes. Neighbors who had lived together peacefully for generations suddenly become strangers. Many trains carrying refugees arrived filled not with living passengers but with dead bodies. Thousands died because of communal violence. Khushwant Singh himself witnesses these events. This is why this novel feels so realistic. Now let's talk on the village of Mano Majra. Now let us enter the story. The novel begins in a tiny village called Mano Majra. This village is very simple. There are only a few houses. Everyone knows everyone. There are one Sikh temple, one mosque, one railway stations. Life here is peaceful. The villagers are not interested in politics. They don't spend their day discussing independence or Pakistan. Instead, they worry about ordinary things like farming, harvesting crops, marriages, festivals, daily work. This is important. Khushwant Singh wants to understand that ordinary people were not responsible for partition, they simply wanted peaceful lives. The railway stations, the heart of the village. One interesting thing about Mano Majra is that the villagers don't look at clock. Instead, they tell time by listening to trains. When the morning trains arrive, they know it is time to wake up. When the evening train passes, they know the day is ending. The railway station becomes the village's clock. At first, this seems like a small detail, but later, the same railway station becomes the place where tragedy enters the village. This is why the train is one of the biggest symbols in the novel. At first, train brings life. Later, train brings death. Remember this. It is one of the most important symbolic ideas in the novel. Now meet Jugga, the main everyone's fear. Now we meet one of the most famous character. His real name is Juggut Singh. Everyone calls him Jugga. At first glance, Jugga appears frightening. He is very tall, physically powerful, rough, known as a local criminal. Whenever something goes wrong, people immediately suspect Jugga because of the reputations. Even the police do not trust him. If we stop reading here, we might think Jugga is the villain. But Khushwant Singh wants us to question first impressions. As we continue, we discover something surprising. Sometimes the person whom society calls a criminal may possesses the biggest heart. This transformation makes Jugga one of the most greatest characters in modern Indian literature. Jugga's secret. Although Jugga appears rough, he has a secret. He is deeply in love. The girl he loves is Nooran. Here comes another surprise. Jugga is Sikh, Nooran is Muslim. In Mano Majra, their relationship is possible because until now, religion has never divided the villager. They simply see each other as human beings. Khushwant Singh quietly reminds us, love never asks, when is your religion? People do. This simple relationships later becomes one of the strongest emotional forces in the novel. Now, let's talk on a peaceful night turns into a tragedy. One night, while the village is sleeping, a group dacoits bandits enters Mano Majra. Their target is Lala Ram Lal, the village moneylender. They rob his house, then they murder him. The entire village wakes up in fear. Nobody understands what has happened. Until now, Mano Majra was a place of peace. Now violence has entered. This murder changes everything. The police arrive. The police begin investigating. Instead of carefully searching for real criminals, they immediately arrest Jugga. Why? Because of his past. This is another important lesson. Sometimes society judges people by their reputations, not by evidence. This is a criticism of how prejudice works. Now let's talk on why is this opening so important. Many students think the novel begins with the murder. Actually, it begins with something much deeper. Khushwant Singh first shows us peace, harmony, ordinary village life. Only after we being loving his peaceful world, he introduced violence. This makes the tragedy much more powerful. In the village had always been violent. We would not feel the loss, but because we first experienced its harmony, we understand exactly what partition destroy. Now let's talk on what have we learned so far. By the end of this part, we already understand three important ideas. First, ordinary Indian and Pakistanis were not enemies. Politics divided them. Second, religion becomes dangerous only when hatred enters people's mind. Before partition, Jugga and Nooran's love proves that peaceful coexistence is possible. Third, the train is become a symbol. Today is bring passengers soon. It will bring one of the darkest realities of partition. From the IGNOU exam connections, from just one section, examiners often expect you to understand Mano Majra as a symbol of pre-partition India. Jugga's characters before his transformation, the symbolic importance of trains, the impact of partition on ordinary people rather than political leaders. These ideas appear repeatedly in analytical questions because they form the foundations of the entire novel. So that's it from this video about Train to Pakistan by Khushwant Singh about MEG-15 Indian literature in English.